Sangmala Samri Tashidala Shuguye.
Tashidala everyone.
Ngöndro Beja de Nyamdo Soro Nam.
We will now recite the Ngöndro liturgy together.
Guru Bema Bao Gandru Zodan Tam Je Gu Garda Sonda Ge Ngaje Lu Toji Gomba Rekba Ran Jarje Ngu Tala Dede Chadril Je Chadan Je Sil Jembe Dunje Namgaran Jembaran Juru Jelama Gandrezo Namje Mendala Do Jeje Nezi Tendada Gam Zom Jena Semloman Denjengan Dona Tezenen Rubina Warajam Mandroin Jurun Bezem Jela Purarendo Benal Jorenge Jinga Jene Zojem Benjir Palama Je Jone Lunga Ye Danyo Mene Bar Dente Zam Go Beden Laba Le Jawa De Jiran Lanju Nere Nyam Gejen Deru Taranjen De Nyendro Bayi Jela Manga Drezo Namji Medage Gozom Jenjelo Medage Gozom Jenjelo Medage Gozom Jenjelo Mulazo Tini Dejala Lung Kuro Nyamda Saro Nashugi.
So now we will do the exhalation of still breath 9 times. Let's do it together.
Lazo Tinin De Jala Sozo Chizundo Ngo Zawe Lama Yimba La Namba Guru Rumba Je Kum Ene Tela Solo Tsejido Tabe Yimba Re Ene Solim De Gare Shure Se Du Zana Ene Tusum Sanje Tamji Yungo Lama Rumba Je Chechen Ene Nge Karasawre Sem Taba Da Ene Trimni Tamje Ma Seba Da Nyamna Doba Dunza Nyeba Labar Du Danda Ngöndro jerimba kumgu yobale 장주 제스미 아버지 공부 유대 장주 좀 쩌마 마임바 양다 버지 줄라 제월 진절람도 솔선 단대 솔로 양제 연제 샘딩네 제 라면자 인다 인냐면은 나와 정송섬 네 라마 어디 쉬네 라니래 템제 소소 고숨나 라면 고송 도숨 예면은 조송 삼이 바래 네데잖아 네 책든도 네 잡로라서 소신 냠도 네 송 소로나 쉬
Now it is time for supplication and receiving the blessings. As usual, first of all, visualize Guru Rinpoche on top of the crown of your head. Realize that in essence he is your root guru while appearing as Guru Rinpoche. Then, with deep devotion, supplicate as follows. Supplicate realizing that he is omniscient one, Buddha of the three times, and supplicate to bestow you the blessings, to give rise to authentic, to develop one's practice and realization, also the purification of one's mind stream. And also, since we are currently contemplating or studying the practice or giving rise to bodhicitta, supplicate that one might receive, one might give and give rise to an authentic meaning or certainty to bodhicitta. And then after that, after supplicating as such, visualize that Guru Rinpoche with joyful expression bestows you all the blessings, and after receiving the blessings, the Guru melts into light and dissolves into your own body, and your own body, speech and mind and that of Guru becomes inseparable or indivisible. After visualizing such, we will recite the liturgy of the bodhicitta or giving rise to bodhicitta together.
Balden Zave Lama Rembo Dage Jeoron Beme de la Kajen Jembe Ngone Jesu Kuzon Tuje Ngöndro Zaldo Zul Dezun Sanje Dam Jeje Ngovo Lama Rembo Jen Dage Ju Minjen Jolwara Jenje Labdos Samlam Je Doba Je Baran Jen Jula Je Wara Jenje Labdos Sedenye Lao Saran Zoba Jem Lam Jo Dar Jem Baran Jenje Labdos Dezum Sanje Jenje Ngovo Lama Rembo Jenje Dage Ju Minjen Jolwara Jenje Labdos Samlam Je Doba Je Baran Jen Jula Je Wara Jenje Labdos Sedenye Lao Saran Zoba Jembe Lam Jo Dar Jenje Labdos Dezum Sanje Dam Jenje Ngo Lama Rembo Jenje Dage Ju Minjen Jolwara Jenje Labdos Samlam Je Doba Je Baran Jen Jula Je Wara Jenje Labdos Sedenye Lao Saran Zoba Jembe Lam Jo Dar Jenje Labdos Solwan Devzo Lama Rembo Je Dowe Budo Jenje Juje Kalme Dala Reza Jule Me Doye Yerme Jep Jenje Lo Dunje Zaje Jengang Bunzo We Bazam Jinge Dombo Yalga Wezo Bema Dabdon Jebe De Zawe Lam Guru Bemal Rezen Jobdom Jazu Gorje Guru Dondo Yedam Yanda Yero Chenan Jude Yedam La Yenzo Yezo Jumde Jajang Doba Chojun de Sum Sanje Namje Goro Jabdo de Sum Dabe Jenam Bejur Shumar Serye Chadanje Yundo Jangsim Yeran Kendu Parsam Jeje Yalga Chara De Ganjo Damje Damje Tujen Dunga Jela Vaseje Mara De Dundu Dada Bamet Tanya Barme Kanyam Semjin Gun Sheme Dene Nyemboro Jaba Korwe Zunne Tardu Zeje Kosum Kobe Jabzo Jowara Juru Namo Dadan Kanyam Semje Malun Gun Lama San Chedan Gendun Yedam Bawo Kanjo Jegyamzo Doje Jeden Nam Gyabzo Inji Gyabyul Namje Wozrenje Dajenje Dejen Chongwara Injuru O Ngonje Jalwa Zedan Jenam Je Lame Janju Judu Tanya Manjuro Kanyam Drogo Penda Ledo Sanje Drombara Enji Oma Ore Reze Bema June Lazo Choju Jabyul Namla Jada Wezo Jorada Ile Juwa Kunsan Jeje Namga Gawij Sondara Janju Sembe Labada Reze Ngaje Damze Nyamja Padan Sozo Jewe Sonam Je Jase Jeba Jelaji Tayan Jowa Dongal Jurba La Bemba Jendra Zambiju Kalba Jewa Samye Jinin Do Jove Donjire Nyangin Meda Tage Dozuno Sabe Gewa Dogun Janju Ningbo Dom Jire Sonam de Dogun de Dan de Dongal Kundala Dala Minju Dongal Mebe de Da Medala Shin Chugun Yam Tanyam La Ne Jo Ngola So Ani Yang Tandanga Zo Ngöndro Kumbirimba de Ni Lebdo Yomare
Now it's time for us to contemplate on the stages of preliminary practice.
Ngöndro Komba de la Tumongchi Ngöndro Tumin Nangi Ngöndro Niyubi Nane Tanda Tumin Nangi Ngöndro Re Ta Tela Yang Ani Karaso Re Tarbe Lamji Jugo Kyabzun Rawa Ani Tekjin Lamji Sawa Sem Jeba Tegri Pajana Jaba Tamje Chongba La Tourism Komde Ani Swaksa Tepjang Nano Chodo Jorba Mendal Ani Chinlabji Jubi Shi Sawa De Lame Naljor Yoba Le Tata Nanganzo Ani Semje De Ani Komishin Bayimare
So, in practicing the preliminary or the Ngöndro, there are the outer or ordinary preliminary and the inner or extraordinary preliminary. Right now, we are contemplating on the inner or extraordinary preliminary. In that, we have the going for refuge, the practice of going for refuge, which is the doorway to liberation. Then we have giving rise to bodhicitta, which is the support or base of all Mahayana paths. And then we have the meditation and recitation of Vajrasattva, the remover of all kleshas and obscurations. After that, we have the best of accumulation of merit, the practice of mandala. And then lastly, we have the Guru Yoga, the practice of Guru Yoga, which is the foundation of all blessings. And right now, we are currently contemplating on the second, the arousing of bodhicitta or giving rise to bodhicitta.
네 다다나가서 semje kom ko de chedang ani ngondro tangge yina ani semje je sikden zo ani sungne ani tonda den zo samlo dang go yore chabro kapso ya chabro je sikden de ani tonda samlo dang go yore de ani danda ga zo migba zo je ani sikden de ani zo saldo mebe don yu.
So in practicing the giving rise to bodhicitta, actually we have to recite as well as imagine, or we have to also visualize the meaning of the Ngöndro liturgy together with recitation. Not just for the practice of bodhicitta, but also for refuge. We have to do the same. We have to recite the liturgy and also bring the meaning of the liturgy in our mind. But right now, for our own purposes, we are just giving instruction on how to visualize. So we will continue with that.
다 semje rimba komda khashe je ngonla shutu bare da dereng azo tangmongola ani daje nyam komda de bola ke je shegi da daje nyam se de ngazo semje yine songde sanje da chebo ji yang shin semji chuni de dewar shebo nyingbo yinba am yoba de chebo ji yang ro maga nyawa je semje la meba je da toril hada mila yoba dene mare 대신 닝보 yoba chebo ji yang cha de yoba.
So previously, in our previous sessions, we have gone through some of the stages of giving rise to bodhicitta, and today we will begin with meditation on considering others as equal to oneself. When we say that others are equal to oneself, it relates to the nature of all beings, the essence of Sugatagarbha that is present in all beings, the nature of Buddha himself. So it is not that the hell beings does not possess this nature. We all beings, disregard of higher or lower realms, we all beings possess this Sugatagarbha.
nge jang ane tarbi lam dhruba yina sanje goba tenen to tu bure je da ma je ma do ba ane je kaza sanje yi gyu me ba gyu na ma re de je nyumbo yo ba re la da na shin do re sim je tham je jang sanje goba dhruba je lam ga la bezon che ba yina ende tarba tham je goba top tu bu yere dan di lam ga de nge te bar che gi 좀 전에 시작해 두면 로아 섬진데 졸라 간데 펜도바 제도 대지부 지제 내야 지금 섬진 담절라 대신 용 뭐여래 민요 바카야 요 말에 제가 맞을라라 레고도 되네 내 지긴 냐바지 뽑아지당 담저 지게고 그래 딜하는 교스
So as it is true that we all possess this Sugatagarbha, in that case we also possess this Sugatagarbha, the nature of all beings, and it is just that we don't practice the path to liberation. If we are able, or if we actually do practice and follow the path to liberation, there is no way we cannot attain the liberation or the level of Buddhahood. And it is the same for all beings of the six realms. There is no one that doesn't possess this nature or the essence of Sugatagarbha. So all beings can achieve this level of Buddhahood. So knowing that, realizing that, we should vow and have this courage to lead all sentient beings to this path of liberation, or establish all the beings to perfect Buddhahood. So just as the Buddha taught all the beings the path to liberation, I will also follow the same path and show the path to liberation. I will lead all the sentient beings to liberation. We should have this kind of courage and vow to lead all these beings to liberation. So now for a while we will contemplate or meditate on this.
나서 다가 나신도 네 다나 삼전 담제 랑신라 다제 당존나 녀가 매바 동만이 아니 저번난 자와임바데 제보지장래데 요래 다치 남방원에 삼나다나 아니 상마 동알라 뇽대고요 봐 동알 균제가나 쳬대바는 나와래 아니 동알딜라 멘더 바사고와 강에든 졸로 수진 도고요 말에 아니 대화 도건님은 찍어지장으로와 나랑 대화 도고요 발로 삼진 믿어봐 요즘 말에 삼진 믿어봐로 소소도 봐 요즘 말에 용소 대화 도바당 동알 믿어봐 찍어제 대외 진주 양다 본주미셔 바당 동알지 주 양부지는 빵미셔 바 라우로샤데도 아니 상만 라우로레샤 다디 상메 람양다 버제 된 거고요나 조베 상제지 템베 람테 람만로나 네 답지 셴메바 윤두 딜람양다 버징에 아니 삼전 담질로 던토 버지 제게 소소양데 람데 냠솔랑게 인 응가서 상만 라우 나냐마레샤 아니 가시 샤잖아 그래서 말을 파마규베 섬지 용조 산이고 마고는 저는 득서면도 냐마지 아니 교사 삼나다로나
Likewise, while considering oneself and others, when we analyze our nature of own being, we all are empty in nature and free of all elaboration, the ultimate nature. But while being empty in nature, in appearance, we all suffer. As the beings of the six realms, we all suffer and we are equal in the suffering. We all want happiness and we don't want suffering. It is not just for oneself, but when we analyze, all sentient beings want happiness and they don't want to suffer. Likewise, we suffer in the six realms because we don't know the causes of happiness and the methods of removing the causes of sufferings. So if we want to free ourselves and others from this suffering, we have to follow the authentic path, the path of the Buddha, and we should vow, just like before, not just to follow our path for oneself, but to follow the path for ourselves and also lead all the beings, not just one or our own being, our own relatives or our own loved ones, but all beings without leaving anyone behind. We have to vow to bring all the beings of the six realms to the path and lead them to liberation.
so dine de jala nga zo dashin chewe ne nyamne jadang kor khashe ji shugi ta de la dashin chewa de la da komda re mendo khashe yore chi de da ne namjun so so nga ja chambo che ne kangsa shenba de zo ma nangchung ro ja dang ro gi be ndu da na ta so so shara ma so ro se gire de samna de ne tang ne so so o nga ja che zo da kangsa shen la nangchung dang ma be dang za ni che wo lo ne rang sa ja la shen ja shen ji sa ja rang shen shen nga ja chambo che ne zu la tap chen nam re na so ju ko ne kang zu ne nye je che ba ro da ane kang zu ne ma che na yang nyebje chebe nawa ro jene dene lega che dan dam re nyebje che wa ro dang somnang chenzo che ba jin de ro jene sola dene che ju ba dene samlo dang ta dene samlo dang te wi ka bla ne so so samlo te mende wa na me ji blang lang ro jo yong yo re dene chung na den lam sang ka re teng go re nge ta na samlo dang wa sam ji ja ne shen ji rang ni la nye je dang wa dang ma be ja wa dang tup zu dang wa dene che yong de kang ye na ngö su ngö kangsa shen la de nga nga ja jo wang shen la nye jo la so ba chana ngone khazo khali yo sare ta chama na de ne che nyen min nyen sa mare a che gi me a nyam ba jane ko go yore de ne la chuk an sam na ro.
After that, we will meditate or contemplate upon exchanging oneself with others. There are few ways to meditate upon exchanging oneself with others. Among them, we will begin with the method of pride. Generally, when we are proud or egoistic, we tend to belittle others or harm others in various ways, whether knowingly or unknowingly. So in this method, we will exchange ourselves with other, as in exchanging one as a victim and the other person as someone who is acting in such a way and hurting ourselves. So reflect on all these reflect on the unsettling feelings or difficulties one may experience while being in such a situation. The various ways, whether knowingly or unknowingly, that the other person is engaging on and hurting oneself, and then acknowledge the difficulties and all the the bad experiences that one have when while being in such a situation, and resolve not to commit such an action that hurts other, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Also vow not to commit such an action in the future that may bring harm through our pride or through our egoistic state of mind. So now let's contemplate on this and meditate upon this method of exchanging oneself and others.
So daga nangshendo rangni da nyambala tenne ni drensim samlata yimare no suzu rig nyamba inanda, ryu nyamba inanda, yeje yunden dinzo nyamba inanda, su langso nyamba inanda, songji gwanda songba chandan dawa inanda, ani xingba ina xingba chandan nyamba inanda, lobjungba ina lobjung cheba nyamba inanda, ta teka na su su tang dawa dawa yogan dinzo dini drensim chigirwa, ta di yang chewa logo yore, su su nam yun kansa shen gashi la drensim chigi yona, chigin dina chewa lo, chigi meso na dini yang chigi mikba kum chogirwa, kansa shen chig, rani shen je sa chada, shen rani sa cha sha ne, ane parol bo chok kangje tono su su lan drensim chebe namba, su su lega yarje dhruya tabche dango dhru ma chung ne, chok kawa kasa na kak tegan rao dang, chok kawa kasa na dini nöba jal tegan rao dang, wa tende je ane drensim cheba je namba je samlo dang kogore, ta de samlo dang du yang sam midel hang lang rao jo yung rwa, ane di tenji nang shen je ne, ngay samlo dang wa zam ji jang, ane nga la dini drensim che yung du, kange dini yon na, ngay ngoy su kansa shen la drensim che kwe ha koso na, ane parul pa kansa sem de la kaso kange yu jure, ta ngay shen la drensim che chok nyansa ma re, chen na driga mi du ta chema ne ngay mi che a nyamba je ne samlo chok sa dang rwa.
Likewise, of the various methods on contemplating or meditating upon exchanging oneself with others, there is also this method of rivalry or jealousy. Generally, we feel jealousy or rivalry towards people who are equal to us in various ways, like appearance, having similar features, physical attributes, and also if we belong to the same group, or if we belong to the same sects, and also if we are businessmen, we could feel rivalry towards other businessmen, and as a farmer we could also feel competitive to other farmers, and also as we could also feel rivalry towards other people in terms of education and so on. So in exchanging oneself with others, try to imagine having this kind of feeling of jealousy or rivalry towards others, and then exchange oneself with the others, imagining oneself as the victim and the other person as the person uh, who is having this feeling of jealousy and rivalry, and going through various methods trying to obstruct us or obstruct our business, or trying to harm us in various ways. Not harm, but trying to fail us in our business or any other thing. So visualize how bad, imagine how you would feel knowing that the person is having this feeling of jealousy and trying to harm you through that feeling, and knowing that, acknowledging the feeling, vow and commit not to act in such a way and bring harm to others. And so meditate upon that for a while.
so da na shin do ne cha do ji go ne yang ne sam da yo ba re nam ye rang ni le la ba am che wa da ri ru xie xia yun de ne so da lang zo ten ji na xin je ne ne ka zo re chong ba yin na re xing ba yin na re ne le ga che ge yin na re so le la ba de da wa che yo ba la ba yin gen din zo la da cha do je se ro wa ne cha do je gi yo ba yin na ke sa kan sa de dang 제월로에레 메소나다 미바콤네 간사지기 바로바 라니라 미비사자샤 라니토에 사자샤네 아니 바로바 초강제 돈에 소소라 차도지게 봐 아니 메가와 지게 봐 그 라니게 야르제도도도 초카오네 메가 되네 너바 모바당 강에 망보체 받네 이제 삼로당 다디 삼로당 대주선 소소선 미들 항랑 로지 캔소제 샤는 거로와 용도 아니 된진 낭신제네 nghe dan samlum tang ba me ba kom ba tam ji ne den de je sam la gang yo na ne ngo zo gang sa chen de zo la cha do je ba yin so na kon zo la ka zo gang yo sa re tang nghe ja man de gang sa chen la cha do dang an den de chen na kyun de za ma re ja man ne me je a nyam ba je ni sam lo dang ro na
Similarly, we can also meditate or contemplate on exchanging oneself with others through the feeling of envy. Generally, we feel envious towards people who are more superior to us. The other person could be superior to us in various ways. For example, just like before, they could possess better physical attributes. They could belong to a higher group or sects, or also they could be more successful business person or be more prosperous as farmers, and they could be more educated than us, and so on. So exchanging oneself with others through this method first bring to mind the feeling of envy you might have had towards others, or imagine this kind of feeling if you haven't had them before, and bring to mind, reflect upon the feeling of the person after exchanging yourself as the victim and the other person as the one who is having this feeling of envy towards you. Reflect on the feeling, on knowing that the other person is feeling envious towards you and trying to obstruct you being successful, or trying to obstruct you or harm you in various ways, all way possible. So bring to mind all this sorrow, or this feeling of bad feeling that you might experience as the victim, and reflect upon the feeling. Only barely imagining this has already brought you so much sorrow. Then how about the actual person who is feeling this kind of who has experienced this kind of feeling? So acknowledging that kind of feeling, and acknowledging the pain and suffering, vow and commit not to engage in such action, not to engage in committing this action through envy, and also vow not to commit it ever again in the future. So now let's contemplate on this for a while.
나서 한다가 나신도 다신 지원냠네 현재단데 아니 가서 오난절로 돈에 나 삼노다 지은 거래 소소주 오파 당용도 란지지 대화 난게와 아니 대위주 네 개와서 그러와 아니 인데원 대화 담제 양나 류롱저 계산당제 봐 뒤숨도 사바 상마 아니 섬전 상마로 오팔당인데 섬전 담제를 제인 건설로 톱송상 아니 오술라 랑연데 섬전 현재 동알당 동알지 주 메가와 상마 술라 랑네 라니라 톱송 디랑 야냐메바지나 데게라 양우디 왜라 삼노다는 데그래 왜 삼노다는 나고 예번에 왜 카본 나와 마왜 난신지네 봐 도송삼 디디가 없으는 소소년 대화단 대회 교단 제바 담제 섬전을 때네 상말로 톱송삼 안 파주네 양술라 오 나고 지만 난신지네 나고 술라 렘네 나고 예번에 술라 렘 섬지 현재 동알다 동알지 주 메가와다 제바 탐제 소설렘네 소설 톱송 어디네 제발로 내 삼노다인데 말에 디양 디니보데 레메르머지네 교서 삼노다.
Continuing with our meditation on exchanging oneself and others, the next method is through breathing. When we breathe, when we exhale, the breathe out, we should imagine or we can visualize or meditate on exhaling all the merit or happiness. The merit is the cause of happiness. We should visualize or imagine that all the merits that we have accumulated through the 3 times and all the happiness that we have experienced, we give it through the exhalation of the air. We give it to all the sentient beings. We give it to the sentient beings of the 6 realms. We have to imagine that all the happiness that we have experienced and the causes of happiness, the merit that we have accumulated, we give it all to all the beings. And while we inhale, when we inhale our breath, we have to imagine that all the suffering or the causes of suffering that all the sentient beings have accumulated comes towards us, and we take all that suffering into ourself. And also there is another way of practicing the same the another way of practicing the same is through visualizing through our nostrils. When we exhale, we visualize that the air through our right nostril, when the air goes out, when we exhale, there a white light goes, in which as before we imagine that all the happiness that we have experienced and all the accumulation of merit, we give it all to the sentient beings. And likewise, when we inhale through the left nostril, all the sufferings and the causes of suffering of all the beings we take into ourselves through the left nostril. It is in black in color and also like a smoke. So when we visualize that, we have to imagine it as a smoke, black smoke, and the merit or happiness when we exhale, white in light. So meditate and imagine this for a while.
so daga na shindo da shin jewa kon da shin ba jela ni so zon dewa na kibu na ane kewa la so ba che de na ane ta di na shin samje shin ba tam je ane dewa chuna chi marung di na shin dewa samje tam je dewa dan gewa den la chobar gyurji de dan dewa dan gewa la chobar an jala sa jen nam je ni chenje labro nang wa tene la no sol dem da molam da tene che go yore ani da na je so so tongal da kange da tene kang la ani lu mi de sem mi je ba la so ba chung so na ani dwar do samje tham je tongal tek ba ani tebe kyu me ga wa chama nge de ji tongal de kang la ani timbar sho ji tongal da rang ki tu bar sho ji do da rang mi na chi marung yin na chi marung sa yin bar sho san tene da yin bar gyurji molam da yinbar dagarang la yinba ni tuiba jawa saja namjo ni jinlap tunjo naro na san dine solde ani dev tuiba chini ya chigi nyamba ya namja o dinde chini samla daya sozo dedo kang chungwa yina ya ani karza gore dewa dila shenla toba samla daya dungal nyongde shen yi dungal tamja dagarang la minne dagarang ki tuine tabar samja tamja ki deba di tabar kyo chi sana dine samla daya di mare ani dine la yang kyo uzi ani kongpa shiro na
Likewise, the other method of meditating on the exchange of oneself and others is when we experience happiness, joy, or when we are ourselves engaging on the causes of happiness and joy, the accumulation of merit. We bring to our mind how would it be for all the beings to experience such happiness and joy and also engage in such merit. How how better it would be for all beings. So imagining and visualizing that all beings also experience all these and also supplicating and making aspiration for all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to bless these beings to experience such happiness and engage in the causes of such happiness. And also when also imagining all the suffering and uh, all the suffering and engaging in the causes of suffering, we also have to imagine, we bring to our mind that all the suffering and the causes of suffering may come to ourselves, and may all the beings who has been experiencing this suffering and engaging in such an action that bring about the suffering, the causes of the suffering, may all these actions be purified, and may I be able to take all those suffering and the causes of suffering be purified. We have to make aspiration and uh, supplicate to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas uh, to transfer us all those suffering and the causes of suffering that they are engaging in that moment when all these beings are engaging in those actions or experiencing themselves this suffering. May all these beings be free from this action, and may the suffering come to ourselves. We have to imagine in that way and bring the suffering to ourselves. In that way, we can exchange ourselves and others through happiness, the causes of happiness, and also the suffering and the causes of suffering. So now let's contemplate and meditate this for a while.
Also, then semje den zo pombe gabla, nazo chabro ji kabzo salda be sojen darang, ne pangbe sul dundu shuzu sol ne, ane di kundundu da kelen damja chegi yubi namba chene, ane kumgo go yure.
So while we are meditating and visualizing all this, the stages of arousing or giving rise to bodhicitta, we have to visualize the same merit of fear that we had previously visualized while going for refuge, and as taking them as the witness to our practice, we vow and we commit ourselves to the practice of bodhicitta.
Nazo tini, Ngöndro beja jungne nyamdo solo.
So now we will recite the concluding part of the Ngöndro liturgy.
Zoje damje ojo rangla, korwe dongalan jele darawara njuru. Oje rumba jembe jilnguru, teje zanga jebe kewa. Tuzum zabe kezo kundum de lame janjum ni ngowara nji. Sonam de daye jowa gun jena zangye barje gunji. Rimni lamje jeba darje ne bema jal. Goma nyurdo jo zadye lame jelam nyingla. Edam gandro le dan jebje. Chenyon zome barje gunza. Chode ngöndro jebe draje jo. Oma bazra ngoro bema zede o. Geje de le jebe yeje de wazan. Ome kaye dame. Tsondru wa beju darang navi. Rajen zhu be chen zhu be mavi. Chunyi ngon sum cha zen de le lo nya. Gong be sha men kan jen pur. Re ba zen be ba wu zhang gen su. Cho se lo de do je lo garan jur. De we de men gong bo da yi. Ninje de re je janan be mondo. Gozum gon de je be do denza. Kando jo be zen jo je la zo. Zendan go ye nam ro da le be. Gyöndro cha wa je be den zandar. Da je ga nyam ye je ja zung. Zede be ma dan do je wara jo. De ya re ze nam je zen lam la. De ne go da ye je ja zung. So je la me go ba nyur don. Ranje de ne lun je jo bara jo. De me je da yer me be manjo ranata be sando bare je. Nare yer me manjo nyo men. De ne nam da jen do je wara jo. Gando je be je wa dam je do do. Yun den dun den do bara jo. Yema da do je dan je jure ne zol je je be ra wa yu bara. Je do ne ne nyen be dun drum de cedre se be ja zo gal war. Se ban dan be che ra den je je jen dun drum kyong ala me bara. Lab je jen dun jore me ba. Tam je jam je san je do bara jo. lazo ane tamje la kuzo doja na ane toje je yugi ane da tunda nye je ring la nga zo tanda ane yane sawa da ane de la doje mangbo je kabdo jamne ane zina me ane tunda nye je che la tene nga zo jal jo.
Thank you, everyone. Information on coming up classes. For 2 weeks, due to our conclusion of Yarnet retreat and also other occasions, we will not be having classes for 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, we will again continue our classes. So we'll see you after 2 weeks. And take care, everyone.